What's poppin', y'all? Clavicular, who is known to have taken a cocktail of different substances in, partially blowing up from the Aiden Ross admission that he saw him on his private jet taking math, and we're not talking about the subject in school. He OD'd live on stream. Yes. And this all started with him taking this substance.
Is there a trash can around here? I'm Five. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Sorry. I'm trying my best to lock in, but I'm a little destroyed right now.
I'm from Brazil.
Brazil.
I'm Brazil. I'm speaking English so.
So this thing that he's downing out of what looks to be a 5-hour energy bottle, it is some concoction of different drugs. And a little bit later, you would see that he would start to say he needed to sit down, and you could see his behavior just being really odd.
You know? Oh my God, man. Holy. Holy. Yeah, I'm having a good time. Holy. Oh my God, yeah. No, I'm having a good time. Holy. Yeah, let me go sit somewhere. Holy fuck. Let's go sit down right here. Oh yeah? Oh my God. Oh my God. Holy.
So eventually they go sit down, and then he just nods off.
When did you last take blue? You want natty? You want natty?
So the guy next to him is like, yo, you need an Addy, which is, it's just, these guys are a walking science experiment. There's like, okay, I'm down, so I'm going to take a upper. You know, I got to go out and I'm high anxiety, so I got to drink this thing so it lowers me. They're playing like a game of seesaw with the different substances. And then he would proceed to be carried out by security. So just for some people that might have been feeling bad about the situation, because personally I feel bad for this guy in a different type of case. But this is just an example of something that he said himself in a previous stream.
25 mg, so you could like placebo max yourself like into thinking like you're gonna mug harder. I feel like it's kind of worth it.
The issue is that based on the research I did, 25 mg is worse than like 400 tests in toxicity.
Worse.
Yeah. So it's like, if you want to do 25 tren just for like a bit of a boost, it's like, why not just add like half a gram more of
Because
tests?
you're gonna bloat.
AI.
Yeah, but like tren is no bloat. Right?
Yeah, but like giga high test and AI seems pretty ideal, to be honest.
I'd rather 10 years sooner and mug. That's my thing. Who gives a, you know? That's the only dope I got. Fuck it up.
You don't think you just mug on like 2 grams of test though?
Nah.
So here, what they're talking about is I think they're talking about tren and testosterone, which are 2 steroids. And then this guy's talking about the AI that he's talking about is an aromatase inhibitor. And they're just talking about how one can affect you better. And then he's just basically saying like, listen, if I'm going to look better, I'll shave 10 years. I'll shave 15 years. And one of the people that would reply to this is Cuffham, who was the first guy to really link up with Clavicular, well, after Cheezer.
There for me, I gotta be there for him. I don't care if I gotta pause this stream, put it on black screen just to go to the hospital, check up on him, and come back. I'm gonna go check up on him because he checked up on me. I'm a real nigga first before anything. First, I'm a real friend. And y'all just want to tell him straight up, bro. Like, bro, you already made it. You successful. You could change your life around now. You don't gotta do these drugs. You don't gotta do this. All these. You don't gotta do all these You don't gotta do steroids. You already made it. You already successful, gang. It's just like you know who you are. Like, you don't gotta do none of that. You don't gotta do none of that that's gonna jeopardize your life. You feel me? So yeah, that's it.
So this is the thing. He's talking about you don't got to do nothing to jeopardize your life. I think he's sending out a good message. This guy himself has gotten a lot healthier. I think he put down the cup. I don't know if he was actually real sipping lean or fake sipping lean, which is something that people accuse Dave Blunts of. But he's been trying to get himself healthy. He's been losing weight. So congratulations to Cuffham for that. And I do think he's spreading a good message. The only thing is that what made Clavicular successful are the drugs. And we're going to get into that in a moment because Clavicular would finally respond to the situation in less than 24 hours and say, just got home. That was brutal. All of the substances are just a cope, trying to feel neurotypical while being in public. But obviously, that isn't a real solution. The worst part of tonight was my face descending from the life support mask. And then someone says, just autism maxed in public. Who gives a F what others think? And he says, if I wasn't a live streamer, I'd agree with you. Because that's what seems to be the case. Like, well, people will just tell him, like, bro, you just got to get off the drugs. You just got to get healthy, man. No, this guy has built a prison for himself. That's the problem. Like Clavicular, he has regularly said in the past that he would go days, and he would prefer to go days without speaking to anybody. So he was saying, like, at a time, there were 5 days or 6 days straight where he didn't utter a single word. Yes, not utter a single word. He said he would wake up early or wake up late or something to go to the bathroom just so he wouldn't have to see his parents or family members and them say something to him, just so he could go back and be on forums. And even as of last year or so, when he was already making good money, before he really started actively streaming, just off of his TikTok stuff and some of his YouTube stuff, he would talk about, like, yo, I'm not trying to go out. I'm not trying to do all this other stuff. The most enjoyable thing I can do is, make my money and sit here and doom scroll and rot on TikTok. He's like, there's nothing more enjoyable than this. And to a degree, I kind of understand what he's saying, even though I don't really doom scroll. Like, I despise just people sending me reels. Like, friends do it all the time. I'm never opening your reel. Like, stop sending them to me, please. Oh, man. And I tell them that, and they keep sending them to me. Like, just stop. Anyway, I just had to let that out for a second. So the guy, he built his stream up on going, like, the people that watch him right now, he's going out, he's interacting with other people in public, there's fights happening, there's chaos, it's a circus. He cannot do this without the drugs. Think about it. He's going to have sky high anxiety. He's already, like you said, this guy is a little bit autistic, or at least he's high anxiety when it comes to social situations. So if he doesn't take the drugs, then people are just going to say it's boring. Like, he's going to go out, he's going to be in a panic. And this is the difference between him and, let's say, a Cuffham or a Kai Cenat or even an Aiden Ross. If you were a classmate of Kai Cenat's, do you think he could have gone 5 minutes in class without saying a word? Like, this guy went 5 days and he enjoyed going those 5 days? No, Kai Cenat was bouncing off walls since he was probably like 6 years old. I mean, we have content of the guy on Facebook video from when he was a young teenager. Like, not even a young teen. Yeah, I think he started uploading himself when he was 12, 13. This guy was watching FouseyTube and Roman Atwood, doing pranks, screaming, jumping, yelling. He was made to stream. This guy Cuffham also, he's a social guy. Like, sure, he may be in his room, but you can just see him interact. He's high energy. Clavicular is not. And this is the problem, because previously he didn't need to be, because a lot of his content was more informational about, like, all of the stuff that he knows about these different drugs, and also like looks protocols and things like that. So he could just make that content. He didn't need to be a jester, for lack of a better word, for his stream. So at that point, he could just make the money, and he had a balanced life. I genuinely think that he believes that his life right now, other than the money, is worse than it was a year ago. And he even reminisces on times when he's like, man, I really miss living with my grandma. When right now you just got people around him trying to use him. So if he stops taking the drugs, which let's say he's not addicted and he could stop, which is what everybody that's addicted claims, everyone's just going to be complaining about how boring the content is. They're going to be like, dude, you remember when you used to go to these like parties and these tailgates and these things at Miami or University of Florida, whichever, Florida Atlantic, whichever number of different colleges are. You remember when you used to go out to Tampa? Like, this is what we watched you for. Because his blow up on streaming, everyone watched him when he was all on drugs. So when you take all of that away, they're like, we're glad you're healthy, but we're going to move our viewership elsewhere to somebody that is going to behave in a manner that we would like. So that's what he's saying when he responds and says like, yo, if I wasn't a live streamer, I understand it. And that's why I think he's making such good moves, if you want to call it that, in terms of, yeah, he needed to pay for security, but this guy is grinding like no other. When he talks about hours streamed and trying to keep up high levels of content while streaming, he's taking every deal under the sun. He's opening up a club. He's got his own peptides that he's selling. What else? This guy's just trying to, quote, money max in any way possible. And he even talks about it. He's like, yeah, I don't really see myself streaming in 2 to 3 years. I'm trying to get the hell out of here. Well, if you have a job that you really enjoy, that you love doing all of the time, you're not thinking like that. You're thinking, I hope this never ends. You don't hear an NBA player talking about like, yeah, after this 4-year contract, I'm out. I've got my $60 million. That's enough for me to live. No, they're like, I'm trying to play as long as possible. I want to be in this game like LeBron. I don't want to get injured. I want to keep pushing. And like, for example, when a player gets injured, a lot of them are depressed, even though they're still getting paid. Do you think if Clavicular was promised the same amount of money that he would still be streaming? And he's like, yeah, you could take an injury, you can sit on the bench. Absolutely not. I don't think he enjoys the people that he's around, but he set himself up for this, unfortunately. And the show must go on when you've got all these employees. You've got a penthouse that needs to get paid. You've got a crib that you just bought. You've got security. You've got people relying on you. And you just, how else are you supposed to cope with this? Other than substances, when you needed the substances to get to this level of success in the first place. And by level of success, I don't mean the general success that he had before he started streaming, but his streaming success is 100% reliant on these substances. And you can just see if he tries to stop them. Well, he knows. He's not a stupid guy. He knows if he tries to stop that the content's going to go down, and he's subject to having panic attacks. Just try to put yourself in his shoes, for instance. Let's say you're a normal person. Let's assume that, you're socially normal. You can hang out with people. You've got friends, all that other stuff. Grew up normal, wasn't bullied, wasn't super sheltered. If I put a camera in front of you, well, number one, I have a guy following you with a camera that's pointed at you and 2 security guards, which you need because people have attacked you in the past. You are suddenly the center of attention. You're probably already going to feel a little bit anxious because everyone on the street that you pass by is looking at you, and you know that they're looking at you. And you don't know what they think of you. You don't know if they think, oh, here comes another one of these streamers. You don't know if they think, oh, hey, I know that guy. You don't know. But everybody's looking at you. You're suddenly the center of attention. And then in that camera, there are a bunch of people in a chat waiting for you to entertain them. So there's pressure. You're putting on a performance. You're not just hanging out and doing your regular life. That's not what this guy built his stream on. Some people, they're able to do that. He is not. So you have that. And then now people are saying, damn, dude, like, you remember when you used to do this? Yo, this is boring. What the hell's going on? Your heart's going to start beating a little bit faster. You're going to be a little bit more stressed. There's going to be pressure to, quote, create content. Like, this guy's not a Vitaly, who we will be talking about. Trust me. Vitaly is he's a natural born entertainer. This guy is like a Kai Cenat, except he has no limits and has done some quite disgusting things in the past. But yeah, I think people need to have a little bit more empathy in this situation. I'm not saying you should feel bad for the guy, but you should understand why he in particular needs this to continue, and why this is something that, God forbid, I hope it doesn't happen again, but he's at high risk of it happening again. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.